Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cardaholics of all ages, welcome back to Big Al's Cards. Thank you so much for watching. And in today's video, I want to do a discussion on Topps Series 2 pre-orders, the price, how quickly it sold out, the odds that were on Topps' website, and just where exactly are we going with the state of baseball cards and sports cards with Fanatics ultimately having a monopoly. Before we do, I do want to show off a recent PC pickup. You guys might know I collect the great Phil Hughes of Phil's Pulls, and this is a 2007 Chrome Rookie Red Refractor, number 299. Actually, that's the right way. One of the very first times I've actually seen this card, and it's the lowest numbered parallel from 2007. Before the superfractor and the printing plate. So that's a really, really special card there. So let's talk about 2023 Topps Series 2. So it's been widely speculated that we were going to get some really good rookies in this checklist, and they confirmed it by showing Jordan Walker and Anthony Volpe on the promotional material. So we knew we were going to get a really good, solid rookie checklist. We knew there was a high probability of getting some great parallels. They announced they were getting some new parallels for retail, the blue ice to $9.99, and I think the purple ice to $7.99. And so there was a little bit of hype built around the Series 2. And then the odds came out, and it looked like retail was no longer as nerfed as it was in the Series 1. Series 1, I think it took 10 blaster boxes just to hit a gold. And in Series 2, it takes, I think, maybe 3, which is still not perfect where we'd want it to be, but it's a lot better than 10. And it looked like retail on all fronts was not nearly as hard to hit anything as it was in Series 1. Series 1 just sits on the shelves everywhere near me, and I don't know what that's going to do to Series 2 retail, but I'll be very curious to find out when it comes out. But today, they released the pre-orders for hobbies and jumbos for Series 2, and they had Series 2 hobby at $90, which not great. I think it was less than that at Series 1. It's usually less than that. Maybe closer to 75 is what I've typically seen. But they had pre-orders for jumbo at $200. And the pre-orders for Series 1 jumbo was $150. I went to my LCS the same day it came out and was able to get a box for, want to say about $160, $170 when taken into, their margins and things like that. But it was still better than $200. And now Fanatics and Topps are thinking, well, there was such a huge hullabaloo about the jumbo boxes for Series 1 that we can do the same thing and upcharge it for Series 2. Well, when you look at the odds for Series 2, yes, they're good, but they're not as good, in my opinion, as they were for Series 1, especially when you take into consideration that its retail looks a lot better than it did before. So it almost seems like retail is going to be the play here, and they sold out of pre-orders on jumbo and I believe hobby already, and that was only just a few hours ago. So it seems like there's a huge FOMO, or fear of missing out, on a lot of the new top stuff, which, I mean, in one sense, that's great because it's like, okay, we're going to get, more people involved in the hobby. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you look at the price consideration of it, $200 for a jumbo box. Just a few years ago, I picked up a jumbo box of, I think it was 2020 for, I think it was $130 at my LCS. And even Series 1, it was like $170. It's gradually been increasing. And now you're going to start it out at $200. So then when you go to your LCS, depending on what their margins are and what they need to make to maintain their businesses, you might be paying upwards of $230 on release day for Series 2 jumbo boxes. And in my opinion, this is all just my opinion, it's really showing where Fanatics' priority is at. You can say it's grow the hobby. Well, a lot of people like to rip boxes, right? This is flagship. This is not Topps Finest. This is not Bowman. This is Topps flagship. This is the kind of stuff that's everywhere, right? You're going to charge $200 for Topps flagship? Talk about isolating your collector base a little bit, in my opinion. In my mind, that doesn't make sense. Fanatics is going to do what Fanatics is going to do, because ultimately their purpose at the end of the day is not to cater to people like me or people who like to collect. Their ultimate purpose is to make money. They're a business. They don't care about your feelings about what they do, as long as you shell out the money that they want you to, right? That's ultimately what the consideration is. It is about making money for them. I understand that. At the same time, though, if you isolate part of your customer base, what if they're not spending? Are you losing that chunk of revenue? Do you really believe that that chunk that's being taken away from the average everyday collector is really being made up for by breakers and distributors who are buying the product? I mean, that's a direct to consumer price on jumbos of $200. We could get them from places like Blowout for far less before today. Like, I don't know where it's going to be for Series 2. In years past, jumbo boxes were never starting out that expensive. So I don't really know where they're trying to go with this. But what are they going to do with Stadium Club? What are they going to do with Ginter? If you come out of the gate and say, we're going to do $200 for Allen and Ginter, I feel like that's going to be the moment that I decide that ripping product is not going to be for me anymore. And I'm going to have to just buy singles of what I want, which is not a bad way to collect. There's no wrong way to do it. But at that point, it's going to be a signal to me, okay, they really are going to try to do everything for breakers and everything just to make money without caring about the consumer base at all. And again, I recognize that it is about making money for them. They don't care how they do it as long as the money is being made. I get that. I understand it. And as somebody who, was in a small business and who's, you got to make revenue, I understand it to a degree. At the same time, however, there is something to be said about effective marketing and care for your consumer base. And when you display a lack of care for one specific aspect of your consumer base, then that consumer base is going to figure out, okay, well, if they don't care about me anymore, I'm going to go do something else. They're going to give their money to individual collectors who are trying to sell off pieces to make money. Or they are going to, and especially in my opinion, it just seems like Fanatics really had bit off more than it could chew. Trying to take over the collectibles business and trying to take over sports cards, they saw the money that was in 2020 and 2021. And if you look at singles, it's just not there anymore. It's there in wax, which is all they care about. They're not making the single card. I mean, they're making the cards, but they're not in the business of selling single cards. They're selling the wax to people. They're selling it to breakers. They're selling it to people who have the gambling addictions that are going to rip. They're selling it to the jazz families of YouTube, right? They're selling it to all these people who can't stop ripping stuff. And I get it. I get ripping is addictive. Trust me. I've dealt with it. Like, I understand it. But when you show me that you are more in it for the money and you're jacking up the prices on everything, it just gradually seems like you're forcing everybody to try to adapt to a different way of collecting that you think it the way it should be done. And not everybody does that. I was looking forward to ripping a jumbo box of Series 2, thinking it was going to be about 150 because that's where it started. They saw the success of Series 1 jumbos and think they can capitalize on it. But in reality, when you look at the odds, retail almost seems a lot better. So not quite sure where they misjudge that. And I don't really know if they fully comprehend exactly what they're doing. Who are these collectors that they're talking to who are giving them ideas on how to build product, how to successfully do things? I don't know who they're listening to, but I don't know if they're listening to the right people. I think that there needs to be a mix of people on this. I don't know if there's a board of people who submit ideas to Fanatics or not, but I think that there needs to be a mixed bag of people. You want to have people who have the old school collecting mindset, who rip packs to build sets, or they want to chase hits, or they're just an average everyday casual collector who just kind of just does what he wants to do. And then you have the people who are doing these mega box breaks, who are chasing the multi-$1,000 hits. You have a mix. You don't just listen to the breaker people. You don't just listen to the Jeff Wilsons. You don't just listen to certain other influential people in the hobby. You need to listen to the nobodies. So it almost shows me, this whole price increase, that Fanatics really doesn't fully comprehend their audience. And again, I recognize that not everybody is going to have the same old school mentality that I do, but that doesn't mean that people like me should be forsaken, so to speak, right? There should be stuff that we should be able to do. So we're not getting priced, I want to buy a jumbo box, right? $200 probably is not going to work for me. So now I have to go by retail. As the collector, I have to be the one to make adjustments, and I'm already telling you how I'm going to do that. But there are some people who won't even do that. And to each their own, it's an individual decision. I just don't really know if Fanatics truly comprehends what they got themselves into when it came to buying Topps and then ultimately taking over the sports card hobby. I mean, good grief. The rumor is right now that CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Victor Wembanyama, they're all Fanatics exclusive, meaning their Panini cards next year, there aren't going to be any autos. They're all going to be on Topps products. That's a problem to me. I feel like that's a problem. It shows monopolistic tendency, and I'm not here for it. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. If you're going to buy a jumbo box, let me know. I wish you good luck and that you hit something huge. But let me know what you guys think about what's going on in the comments below. Thanks so much for listening to my little rant video. Please leave a like, subscribe, stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, bye-bye.